Hello and welcome to my channel, Ace Your MRCP. I am Dr. Aparajita Roy, Registrar, King's Hospital, London, and through this channel, I bring to you exclusive tips and tricks that will help you pass your MRCP in the very first attempt. Today's video is very special because in this, I talk about my experience of taking the PACES exam during COVID. I know many of you will be taking the exam in the next few weeks. Watch this video till the end to understand what to expect in your PACES exam during COVID. Let's talk about the exam pattern first because the pattern is a bit different. So traditionally in PACES, there would be alternating talking and clinical stations. But in the new pattern, the talking stations, that is station 2 and 4, are being held separately than the clinical stations 1, 3 and 5. There is a new station which is the station 6 or the rest station, which is a novel introduction in this COVID situation. You may either start with the talking stations or you may start with the clinical stations in a separate carousel. You won't be able to choose which station or which carousel you start with. You may also start with the rest station, which means that your exam will start just a bit later than your fellow candidates. You may also end with the rest station, which means your exam will finish a little early than your fellow candidates. The best situation is if you get your rest station in between your talking and clinical stations, which was so in my case. Use that time of the rest station very well. Use it to calm your nerves, relax, drink some water, take a quick toilet break, meditate, pray. The only thing that you should not do is be your own judge and try judging how you did in the past stations. Remember, during the rest station, you will not have access to your books or your things, but if you need anything, the organizers should be able to help you with that. Another thing that is being done differently this time is that the talking stations are remote stations. So when we say remote station, it means that you will be alone in a room with your computer in front of you. You will be given the scenario outside the room as usual and have roughly 5 minutes to prepare for it. As soon as the bell rings, you enter into the room, sit in front of the computer. Your examiners appear on the screen along with the surrogate. Your examiner introduces you to the surrogate and asks you to begin the station. Remember, your time has already started as soon as you've entered the room. Following this introduction, examiners will disappear from the screen and it will be just you and your surrogate. You're expected to carry on your interaction with the surrogate as you have planned, and then roughly around 12 minutes time, your examiners will let you know that you have 2 minutes remaining. Exactly at 14 minutes, the surrogate will disappear from your screen and the examiners will reappear. Following that, you will have your usual interaction with the examiner. Pro tip: avoid the temptation of looking into the computer screen and look at the camera instead. That will give the surrogate a feeling that you're directly looking into his or her eyes while you're interacting. Doing that, you won't be able to see the surrogate's face, but this will help build a bond between you and your surrogate. Also, be very careful with the timing of the station. Some candidates say that they are able to see the timer below their computer screen, which may be a bit distracting. My suggestion to you would be to carry your own clock, a small digital timer or your own hand watch to keep a track of time. Remember, in this station, time flies very quickly and you have to wrap up a lot of information within the stipulated time. Now let's talk about PPE, as this is completely new in PACES during COVID times. Let's talk about donning and doffing first. You will be given separate time for donning and doffing, which is roughly 2.5 minutes. You're expected to don and doff your PPE, sometimes outside the examination room, sometimes you may do it in the examination room as well. You will be expected to wear surgical masks, surgical gloves and a plastic apron. Though it is clearly mentioned that you will not be judged by your PPE wearing skills, it is probably wise to wear your mask and gloves correctly. During my exam, My mask had slipped below my nose a couple of times. My examiner had to prompt me to wear my mask correctly. Although that did not reflect in my marks because I scored full marks in those stations, my recommendation would be to take a little extra care while wearing your PPE because you don't want to annoy your examiner during your examination. The time for donning and doffing is separate from your examination time. If you have finished wearing your PPE early and if you are inside the examination room, take a moment to calm your nerves, relax yourself, look around to get a feel of the room, get a feel of the examiners and the patient, steady your nerves, and when the examiner gives you the cue, you start your examination. Another tip that you need to remember regarding donning and doffing is that you have to separately wear and take off your PPE in between patient encounters. So, for example, in station 1, in between your abdomen and respiratory stations, you get roughly 2.5 minutes to don and doff. This is actually good because before COVID, you would need to rush from one patient to the other as soon as the bell rang. But here, after you finish with one patient, you get that breather of 2.5 minutes because of COVID to take off your PPE, wear a fresh set. Now use that time very well. Use that to calm your nerves, gather your thoughts, look around, relax yourself, and then be prepared for the next patient encounter. Now many of you might be wondering whether to expect fundus examination as one of your stations, as during fundus examination you're supposed to go quite close to the patient, and whether this will feature as a station during COVID. One of my colleagues who took an examination in a different day in a different center did get fundus examination as one of our stations. So my suggestion to you would be, if you already know how to do a fundus examination, great, you don't need to worry. But if you do not know how to do a fundus examination, probably in the weeks leading up to the examination is probably not the right time to learn a new skill. In one of the courses that I did in UK, I learned the skill of arriving at the correct diagnosis even without being an expert at ophthalmoscopy. Let me know in the comment section below if you would want me to share my learnings with you, and I'll be happy to make a separate video on ophthalmoscopy and fundus examination. That's it for today, guys. I hope you have enjoyed this video. Please like, share and subscribe so that I stay motivated to bring more such content to you. Till then, stay safe, keep practicing and ace your MRCP.